I think I need to do the right, hard thing and leave my wife. My, 46 male, and my wife, 45 female, have been married for 13 years, together for 20. One child, 12. Tilt your phone and subscribe. We are opposites in many ways and always have been. She is a scientist. I am more of an arts person. I'm an extrovert, she's an extreme introvert. I am high energy, she is much less so. I am curious and adventurous, she prefers the familiar. But I am profoundly unhappy. She has had issues with depression and anxiety. I feel like a substantial portion of our life has been mitigating these issues and the frustration she feels with things. As a result, I have felt extremely unappreciated and unsupported for most of our marriage. I feel like a substantial portion of the marriage and emotional investment has been based around her feelings, and it's left little room for me and mine. As a result, I have felt myself less and less inclined and able to be open. Early in our marriage, she would be prone to prolonged silence, silent treatment put upon me for transgressions such as leaving things in the wrong place, and occasionally anger, breaking things. Once we were out of sugar and she smashed a spatula against our table. I only realize now that these things had the effect of shutting me down and making me less able to convey my needs. On times when I expressed displeasure with her attitude or behavior towards me, it often fell back into hysterical crying on her part or blaming it on her depression, so I stopped. I grew up in an angry and abusive environment, and I have had a hard time with those levels of anger. And at home, I feel like I have been constantly, for years, walking on eggshells. In the home, I have always contributed. I am the primary, only, cook. I do almost all of the cleaning inside the house. I do most of the outdoor maintenance as well. Parenting has easily been 50-50, acknowledging that mothers always have a bigger burden. But I've mostly managed our son's social life, most drop-offs and pickups. I make the lunches in the morning. I bring this up to say, I think my contribution to the house and our home life has been very big. And in fact, very often I think I am the main domestic person, in addition to working full-time, of course. My wife does most of the budgeting. Our financial system has consisted of me sending her my paycheck. I told my therapist this, and she then asked, "And you have access to this money after it's transferred over?" And I do not. I don't think she is up to anything with regards to the money at all. She just likes to have control. We went about a year last year without any physical intimacy, and prior to that it was extremely sporadic. After having a child 12 years ago, I know things change, but between that, the anxiety and depression, it was never very high to begin with, and it never had any element of spontaneity or real passion. She has never been terribly emotionally supportive, but when my father passed away, I had just seen him for the first time in 20 years at the request of his partner. As he was dying of liver cancer the day he passed away, I texted her and told her. That night she came home, I was making dinner. She said, "Hi," and then went to her craft room to do crafts, and then went to watch TV. I asked for a hug, but her attitude seemed to be that he was a crappy person, and why should I miss him? True. But you grieve what you never have. It was 10 days before Father's Day, and she didn't get me a card or anything, but I'm not her father. I think that's when the relationship died completely for me, and I've been trying to get it back, but I just can't, the will to try anymore. All of the things I've loved have been problematic for her. I bake, too much mess or used up ingredients, make music, I'm a musician. It's not interesting. Or turn it down, or no interest. I read, too solitary, etc., etc. I had a band for a while, and we even got radio play after being around for only a year. But she made it impossible to continue because 6 hours a week was too much time away. So I let that go. I've never felt she was proud of me or what I accomplished. By the way, musician is not my day job. I run a non-profit organization. I've tried asking her to go out, but she prefers to watch TV and is frequently tired. I understand. But I've always lived by fatigue passes, memory lives. Recently, she has said that I've grown distant. She's right. And she's made an effort to be nicer, and I can see it. But something has just died in me with regards to our relationship. I just can't do it anymore, and walk on eggshells or be this unhappy. When she goes away for a few hours or to a conference for a week, I feel like a different person. I've asked her to go to counseling, but she's rejected it because she thinks they can't tell her anything. She has actually said she believes she is smarter than most therapists, so I started going on my own. But it's the fair thing to do, right? She's trying, and now I'm not, after years of trying. Let her go and find someone who works for her. And let me be free. I'm very scared, terrified actually, because there is a comfort in what we know. But it's the right thing to do, isn't it? My thoughts. I can envision the scenario you're describing, and it's clear that navigating her behaviors without inciting a reaction is challenging. Her actions seem geared towards maintaining control, and she's skilled at it. Have you delved into how she truly feels about you? Have you confronted her about whether her rigid stance is worth jeopardizing the marriage? Does she grasp the gravity of the situation? Would she claim to love you? And do you still love her? Given what you've shared, it wouldn't be surprising if she were indifferent to the idea of parting ways. If that's her sentiment, then it may be the most sensible course, as you can't salvage what someone doesn't value, no matter how hard you try, and it seems you've given it your all. I get the impression she's quite self-assured, absorbed, and unwilling to compromise. There doesn't seem to be much room for negotiation, as evidenced by your experiences. It's time for a candid, comprehensive discussion about the future. Brace yourself for the possibility that she may feign indifference, as it sounds like she's fiercely protective of herself based on your description. Your child deserves to grow up in an environment where at least one parent can find happiness. It doesn't seem like that's a priority for her. Wishing you all the best. Catch you in the next video.